When I went there, I didn't know that I'm going to such a place where there's no light, no gas, no water.
Salamu, 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 salamu alaikum ya jama, salamu alaikum ya jama, assalamu alaikum.
We bore witness to love. Love that transcends color and borders from the blessed people of Ghana for Hazrat Khalifatul Masih. They returned the love and care this humble servant gave to them for 8 years, until the entire nation reached out to him and embraced him as her own.
When I was here, I did not think of abandoning this country. I considered myself to be a Ghanaian.
Join us on this unforgettable journey in this two-part series as we tread the footsteps of humility and humanity, exemplified by Huzoor as a young devotee.
A very unassuming, gentle and humble human being.
Witness the example of dedication.
That man was good. He, if not because of him, like this school would not come to stay.
Witness the example of love.
That's my best friend.
He was teaching you English.
Witness the example of brotherhood.
President today, Huzoor, could lay his head with us.
It's an example of humility, it's an example of obedience, it's an example of commitment, it's an example of recognizing a human being for his worth.
Salamu alaikum ya jama, assalamu alaikum.
Well, my concern is not only with the Ahmadis in Africa, but with Africa itself. I'm a religious leader who believes in total dedication to the cause of Allah, and if you are honest in that dedication, then you must be dedicated to His creation. I'm training and instructing my community according to the best education and teachings in Islam. That is to say, serve the cause of humanity just for the love of it.
The concern and compassion that the Khulafa hold for humanity is unparalleled. Ever since the Khulafa set foot on the African land, they immediately set in motion plans that would enable the African people to rise up and embrace a brighter future. By the early 80s, the Nusrat Jahan scheme was bearing fruit all over Africa. It was time to take another leap. It just so happened that by Allah's design, the world came to witness another miracle, and this time through the hands of Sahibzada Hadhrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad. Post-colonial West Africa was at a constant struggle to support its economies, and Ghana was no exception. This is before the discovery of oil. Other than the export of a few food items such as cocoa and fish, there wasn't much else bringing enough revenue for Ghana. On top of that, one of the most basic requirements of food was not produced at all, but in fact imported from overseas. Due to harsh weather conditions, lack of fertile soil and water, wheat could not be produced in Ghana. Even today, more than 90% of wheat in Ghana is imported from the US. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV rahmahullah decided it was time for change. Sahibzada Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad was an accomplished agriculturist with a master's degree in agriculture, and he was stationed in Asachir as headmaster for the T.I. Ahmadiyya Secondary School at the time. All the trees here were originally planted by Huzoor when the school was moved to this location. Not only this, but Huzoor for the first time in Ghana had experimented with growing soya bean at the school, which was an incredible success. So much so that the then president of Ghana, Dr. Hilal Liman, took a whole sackful away with him after his inspection of the school. This was to be the start of a groundbreaking project, initiated by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV rahmahullah, and for this task, Hazrat Sahibzada Mirza Masroor Ahmad was located to the north, this time to Tamale, to start what would come to be known as the Ahmadiyya Agriculture Project. Welcome to Tamale, capital of the northern region of Ghana. The Ahmadiyya Agriculture Project required the right balance of cool weather, fertile soil and easy access to water. The committee set up by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV Rahmahullah for the project, which included Hazur, was tasked with experimenting with growing wheat, corn, okra and other vegetables. Areas around Tamale next to the rivers during the relatively cooler Harmattan season were the best place for the experiment. This wasn't the first time this was being done. Several government-backed projects had already tried unsuccessfully with over 21 different variations of wheat. All efforts had been abandoned in pursuing matters further. Hazur lacked the support and finances the government projects may have had. For the Jamaat to be successful, it required a miracle to succeed where others had failed. We're on our way to see the very house Hazur relocated to in Tamale, and to show us around, we are going to meet the parents of our very own Abdul Hai, who were Hazur's neighbors during his stay in Tamale.
Assalamu alaikum.
How
are you doing? So, this is where Hazur used to live. Looking at the building itself, it's pretty much humble. How was his reaction? What was his reaction like when you told him this is the house you got for him? Did he like it?
Oh, he was very happy. I could see that he was very anxious to move into the house. He was also equally happy that at least he had got a place where he could be very comfortable. And I saw sort of a very unassuming, gentle, and humble human being. That's how I assessed him. Very quiet, very unassuming, and very respectful.
All right, so can you show us inside the house?
This is the living room.
This used to be the living room.
Yeah,
it's now
an office.
Yeah.
Where we had a dining table at the side. Anytime we came in, he would welcome us. Then, of course, my wife would go inside and meet the wife, and I'll be here with him.
So when you came in, where did Mommy used to go?
Mommy, as soon as she would just take through this door and meet Huzur's wife, and then we'll go into the bedroom.
All right, so I'll meet Mommy right there and then ask her what she used to do with Huzur's wife and what some of the activities. Mommy, assalamu alaikum. So when you came in with Daddy, what happened?
Anytime I came with my husband, Huzur's wife would meet me and then send me into her bedroom.
Yeah, where
Even Huzur alone. That time, it used to be. There were 2 bedrooms, but we used to be here. Where we used to be.
So what's this now?
This place is now the office for the regional manager of Ahmadiyya unit.
Ahmadiyya education.
Ahmadiyya and education unit.
Okay.
But this used to be one of the living rooms where I used to sit with my friend.
Huzur's wife?
Yes, please. The children sometimes, sometimes when we came, they would come with Jamila and Nuruhak.
Yes.
So sometimes they used to play around outside. There's an outhouse there, or they used to be there. Other sometimes they'll be around with Huzur himself or here. So when there was any communication, then they would run there too.
So what were some of the things you used to talk about?
Well, we talked about a whole lot of things because at that time things were so difficult. Things were so difficult.
Yeah,
there wasn't water.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was difficult to come by food. So sometimes we lament on some of those things. She would tell me some of the dishes that they liked, and then she would also ask me some of the dishes that we also prepare in.
I remember you telling me one time that those times it was so difficult that it was hard to come by water.
Yes.
So the water you would use to cook, you would use that same water to probably wash your place, use the same water to do other things. So did you ever at any point in time hear him or his wife complain or regret coming here?
Never.
They never complained?
Never complained. Anytime you did anything, whatever it was, they were just so content. with the situation that they found themselves.
Never complained?
They never complained.
Not even once?
Not even once. Not
and you were really
once.
very close?
Very, very close. Very close.
Wow.
Very close.
And so, can you tell me, Mommy, what your fondest memory of this room is? Because obviously you had a lot of interaction.
In fact, not here, but in the kitchen.
Oh, can we take a tour to the kitchen then?
My memory was in the kitchen. This is a very small kitchen. This is where we used to be.
Yes.
You can imagine this is the sink. You know, and they had a small table here, a very small work table. And this is where we used to. Sometimes when I came in and we used to come here, where she taught me how to do chapati.
Oh.
She taught me how to prepare okra stew, which we used to eat with
chapati.
The chapati. Oh. You know, she taught me how to do.
So now that's the secret behind the taste of your chapati. Oh, right. I now know the secret to my mom's chapati. Yes. So she taught you how to prepare chapati. What did you prepare? Teach her how to?
Jollof rice.
Jollof rice.
Yes.
I'm sure she will still remember jollof rice.
But she also used to cook rice, this colored rice with sugar, which I never ate before. And then she will prepare her rice with what do you call it, pickles. She will prepare rice and put pickles, which I never ate before. But it was so nice. I used to enjoy it. And since she went, I don't think I've eaten pickles again. Wow. I would like to get some.
Al-Haj Momin leads us to his own old house, where he and Hazur would often sit under the trees and enjoy some tea and conversation.
So this is your house?
Yes, this is where I live. And I used to, in the evening, we used to come and sit down here. Let's say between the hours of 4 and 6. We used to be here. Occasionally too, we went inside, depending on the weather conditions.
So you used to sit under this mango tree?
Yes.
Was it as big as this?
No, it was much
huge.
Smaller.
It was much smaller than this?
We were about 20 years ago.
So can you tell us, what sort of conversation did you used to have? And what did the sort of things you used to talk about tell you about the personality of this man?
We talked about so many things, as I've said. In fact, from Alpha to Omega, we talked about religion, of course, as Ahmadis. We talked even politics, local politics and international politics.
So, having interacted with him on several occasions, what sort of impressions did he make on you?
Frankly, as a very humble, honest, gentle, and God-fearing person. Yes. And then I remember there was an incident I wouldn't forget. In the month of Ramadan, it was during the drought. We had, in fact, food was very difficult to come by. On the last day of Ramadan, the moon appeared. But believe me, some people didn't know what food to cook the following day to celebrate Eid. I was a bit better, but I wasn't okay. So we were contemplating what to do with the rest that we had, because it wouldn't be sufficient. Then somebody came, I think that was his houseboy. I said, oh, he said, Master said, make I'll call you. But I apparently asked him that he was wanted to see me. So I walked across and then gave him salam. Then he told me that, oh, fortunately he was able to mobilize some rice. And was sharing among members of the Jamaat, of course, at a cost. So he said, this is your share. That's the price. This one is for Mr. Umar, the one who is now in one. This one is for Mr. Umar. I said, okay, I'll take this for him. And then there was another chap also called Issa. He was just saying, of course, he said, this one please for Issa, but Issa came for his identity for him. So when I picked Mr. Umar's, I brought him home. I said, man, look at him, Ahmadiyya, look at what has happened. Mr. Masroor has brought us some rice. I mean, it is so wonderful. We're all excited about the rice. So I quickly myself sent Mr. Umar's own to him. I said, oh, uncle, Mr. Mumin brought some rice. Said that it's Mr. Masroor who sent it. I said, what? Rice? You don't mean
on the
rice?
11th
Yes.
hour?
On the 11th hour. The man, when he just when they looked at it, this just walked straight to me. I said, uncle, what's the matter? I said, He said, my brother, I still remember, I'm going to quote. I still remember his quote. Yeah, so they said, this is a practical manifestation of Allah by himself.
So now he would go to the farm as well?
Yes.
How did he usually go to the farm?
When he came at first, he didn't have a vehicle. But he managed to go sometimes on a tractor, sometimes he used it on a motorbike. but eventually he had a Ford pickup which he was using. Yes, so we used to use that one.
So he was that humble?
Yes.
He could ride on a tractor?
The tractor, on the mudguard, yes.
On the mudguard of a tractor?
Yes.
And he was humble enough to travel all the way to Dipali on the motorbike as well?
About 35, 40 miles away from here.
Was he riding himself or someone used to?
Somebody used to pick him. Yes.
The site for the agriculture project was 40 miles away, at the village of Dipali, where Huzoor would travel to, and more than often, used to spend his nights at the village.
I'm now on my way to Dipali, that very famous village where Huzoor first successfully implemented and cultivated wheat for the very first time in Ghana. And prior to this, other government officials and agencies had tried several times to cultivate wheat in Ghana and had in fact concluded that it was an impossibility trying to cultivate wheat in Ghana until Huzoor proved all those critics wrong. And then this is the road where Huzoor used to travel on. He used to travel on this very road on motorbikes and sometimes even on tractors until the Jamaat purchased for him a vehicle similar to the 4x4 I am using now. And trust me, even riding in this 4x4, you can see it's very shaky and bumpy. It's not comfortable at all. So one can imagine 30 years back, that kind of turmoil Huzoor had to experience on his way to the farm at Dipali.
40 miles on a dusty, broken dirt road is no easy journey in any vehicle. But try imagine so in a tractor. Muhammad Bukhari, the project's tractor driver, is going to show us how it was done 30 years ago.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Can I come forward to Dipala?
Okay, come.
All right.
Okay.
So how are you doing? How are you?
I'm fine.
Alhamdulillah.
How are you?
All right, let's go. I'm fine. I'm fine. Your family?
Yes, I'm fine.
All right. Do you remember one Mr. Masroor Ahmad?
Yes. That's my best friend.
Your best friend?
Yes.
Tell me about him.
Hey, Mr. Masroor, I work with him in Dipali. We do irrigation, making corn, popcorn, wheat. Hey, many things.
At where? Dipali?
Dipali.
So you used to drive the tractor to Dipali?
Yes. Hey.
Has he ever joined you on the tractor?
Yes.
Tell me about his journey with you on the tractor.
Every day we are going 40 miles, in and out 80 miles away. Every day.
And where would he be sitting?
We are sitting behind where we are sitting.
Just here?
Yes.
I can't imagine this. This man used to sit here?
Yes.
On the mudguard of the tractor?
Yes. The time we are start making fasting, still we have been going.
Even during Ramadan, when you are fasting?
Yes.
You still go on the farm?
Yes.
And you'll be, during Ramadan, you still sit on this? In the scorching sun?
Yes. That man, very fine, good man. He's a good man. Sometimes I will speak my English. You say, hey, your English is very poor.
He was teaching you English?
Yes.
And he will tell you English is poor?
He said, hey, your English is very poor.
I'm sure today, if he hears you speaking English, he'll give you a thumbs up,
On the Opera Malo Nigella, Anun Shama, the Benon. There's one to Nano, Carmel, no, to entertain to Lacamba, Lapo, don't have this Shama. What Mona Yamana? Ndapunya to Sarabia, one more so send the tank patapolo. Opera booked a day younger. Bendiru, don't not know Sham, where no limited. Among Puno Carbatuba, we are married in Wuhan. Want to know the Nama, but the girl on board Shama. I become back or I have been I don't have born party. Nda born the pound or I went to Montana, there been summer. So you am born the Pamanji. When I'm born Pampamji, I am going married as something.
All right. Before then, did you see wheat in Ghana before? And what did Mr. Masroor do to bring the wheat?
Alila wheat Ghana brand of wheat been on Ghana. So when you Ghana, once you have to quality and quality the pallet, So agri kana da kam na batin yale. Don brashim na hu to kuto nan gana. Da satin da kwale karkul nan o dan da non to dry ka sok tan panama kana te lehele. Den ku bien nyala puma wanda bien ka son tene puma on kule mamblanya tun nyang batunda.
An chan dan shima ka
When we were running a farm there were quite a number of days when I would travel by tractor to the farm, which was almost 35 miles from my residence. Sometime I used to drive the tractor, and some days I would sit on the mudguard of the tractor. So by the time you would get to the place, you are so tired that it is very much difficult for you to do some job.
This is the village of Dipale, now a thriving community, but at the time of the project it was a tiny village with farmland close to the White Volta River. As is customary, permission is first sought from the village chief. Talking for us is Hazur's old companion in the project, Muhammad Abdullah, now chief of his tribe.
The present Hazur was the farm manager of Ahmadiyya Agri Project, Northern Region, Tamale. The farm was sited in Dipale. And due to the inconvenience or the distance from Dipale to Tamale, the Agri Project decided to build a farmhouse. But as at now, we can only have a trace of it, because since we left the project, people has encroached on where they will build the farmhouse.
Yeah. So where was this house?
This was where the house was. We had 2 bedrooms, 2 rooms.
This particular spot?
This particular spot.
So
from here, most likely, from here up to that place.
So as I'm standing here, it's possible I could be standing in a spot, in a spot where Hazur used to sleep.
Yes.
Wow, there was a room here.
Yes.
Was it made of bricks? Was it similar to what's here? Or
This is even looking more nicer.
This is nicer. Was it similar to that?
We've just built, we used some swish to build it.
Yes.
Then there's some little byproduct of rice axe.
Wow.
To plaster it.
Wow.
And the floor was anything, just to lay our heads.
Wow.
And Hazur was present today. Hazur could lay his head with us.
Oh, you mean you were all sleeping in the same room?
In the same room.
You were his work. You were working under him.
I was working under him. I was his assistant manager.
All right.
Oh, yeah. we had to cook our own. And do you know what was happening?
Yeah.
If Hazur was to stay here for 3-4 days, his wife who has to prepare chapati, then some cakes that will survive him for afternoon, evening, and morning for 3 days. You see this? You see this room?
Yes.
This is a modern room.
You call this is a modern room compared to what you and Hazur
were saying.
Wow.
This is a modern room. Very nice. Hazur, we couldn't make a room like this.
Oh,
yes.
And you didn't tell me about the roofing.
It was roof attached.
This is made of
grass.
Grass. This is grass.
Yes.
Yours too was made of grass.
We had to buy the grass from this village.
Wow.
Yes.
And well, obviously this is cement.
Well polished. Yes, we just use mud to ramp. We use sticks to ramp it so that it could hold.
Yeah. So talk about ants. Talk about other rodents.
But for that, we didn't talk of them.
There were no ants in the room.
Wow. We have to manage with them.
You had to manage. So you were literally living in the same room with ants at the time.
What we had to do?
Wow. And snakes, scorpions.
This was the only place that was within this side, the only house. So you could imagine the type of reptiles and other things we're facing. I had a snake bite, scorpion bite in this one of our rooms for 3 days.
A scorpion bite?
Scorpion bite. I had the pains for 3 good days.
And what kind of things were you sleeping on? I can see this is a modern kind of mattress, isn't it?
Yes, he had this student light mattress before. And, or at times he comes with a bed sheet.
So he used to come with something like this, or a bare bed sheet that we just put on the floor and lie on.
Lie on it.
Wow. Well, I know this is more comfortable than what Huzur used to lie on.
The project has no money to buy all these luxurious things.
Wow. But I'll just right now, I'm just going to make an attempt to have a feel of what Huzur might have felt at the time that he was here, and he would sleep on something which was, what we see here was more comfortable than what he used to sleep on. I'll just try and see if I can spend 8 hours of the night on this mattress. And you used to have mosquito nets, you said?
Yes, we nailed the mosquito nets in the square rectangular form for him to avoid mosquitoes.
Oh, this is very much unlike my bed. I'm just wondering if I can survive this for 8 hours, you know.
But Huzur has to survive with it.
It's just too hard for me now. I can't. Oh, must have been a lot of sacrifice. Yeah?
Of course.
And for all of you.
Yeah.
Wow. Chief Mohammed Abdullah, so in those days, obviously, you just mentioned you used to bring, Huzur used to bring items like chapati and all that.
Yes.
But if you wanted to take tea, obviously you would have to boil water. How did you go? No electricity, no kettle.
This makes me remember one day he was hungry at the farm. Then he asked me to boil tea for him. Eventually, we used the bowl that we used to prepare our soup.
Like this one there? Like that black, okay.
So after preparing, Abdallah, have you put pepper in the tea?
Oh, okay. Because it's been used to...
We used it to prepare our soup.
So there was chili, there was spice, everything in it. And you didn't wash it well?
Yes. So you have to manage.
Let's have a look at the pot here. Okay. So there's water. I can clearly see that there's water in there. So, but then this same pot is used for soup
and
is used
other
for
things.
stew, is used for other things. And at the same time, you would use it to boil water.
Boil tea.
Oh.
So that is it.
Wow.
So you could imagine the stress, the uncomfortability, the hardships, the sacrifice the President Huzur made towards the Ahmadiyya Agri project. This was a co-worker.
Oh.
Or do I say a companion in this village who at times helps in the farm.
Wow.
This was our best friend. When we needed fish, he could give me a fish. But that day, this guy was a small boy. And we used to send them. So you see?
Yeah.
And they all knew Huzur. They all knew him.
You all remember him? Izamio.
Mizamio. Kabuno, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. All right,
that is his name.
All you're telling me here is that, look, when Huzur worked here, he lived with them, he worked with them, and they all know him. They still do remember him, and they remember him by the name Assalamu alaikum, because they think that he was a man of peace. And indeed, Huzur is a man of peace. Okay. So, Chief, can you tell us, first of all, how did the whole project start?
The whole project started by instructions from Huzur, the former Huzur, that Ahmadiyya needed a project, a Greek project. So Amir had to send in some delegation then to Tamale. Then they also came down here to meet the people of the village and to put down the farm proposals to them. And a land of 1,000 acres was acquired. We didn't pay for it. It was not cashed. And we started the project.
Chief, can you take me on a trip to the farm?
For sure.
I would like to see the farm for myself.
For sure.
Then I would spend some night there. And there was no proper house, even though house, it was a small village. So we used to spend our nights with those local people. So they thatched houses, and they spread mat on the floor, and there you sleep. So I slept many nights in the bush, and whenever I would wake up in the night, I would see around, see if there is any scorpion or something, because there were so many scorpions there. snakes or scorpion around you or not.
Evening approaches as our journey nears its end.
So, Chief, how far is the farm from this village? It is Dipali, but the farm is still ahead, you said?
Yes, from Dipali to the farm is about between 3 and 4 kilometers.
The nature of this road now, this is the 21st century, is still so bad. I can imagine 30 years back when you used to ply this road all the time. How was it?
There was no road.
There was no road.
We had to use our tractor because it's a bush machine that paved the way for Huzus at times pick up to follow.
And I've just been thinking to myself, if it is this difficult now in the 21st century, I'm just wondering how it would have been 30 years or so ago when Huzur worked on these parts of the northern region.
Even with the dirt roads, it would have been impossible to make our way without the village guides. Just imagine how tough it would have been 30 years ago.
So when you saw him for the very first time in your life, what sort of impression did he make on you?
Yeah, I was not too sure whether he could do farming.
Why?
Yes.
Why?
I was not too sure whether he could do farming. Because looking at how he was dressed, and I knew him to be the headmaster of Salga at Ahmadiyya. So I was a teacher, a secondary school head teacher coming to be a farmer.
So you doubted his ability,
of being a farmer.
But you still went ahead to propose to work with him.
Yes.
There's something that might have gingered you to
you see, because they said Ahmadiyya Agri Projects was going to be, it was a humanitarian project. It was not a profit-making destiny. And as an Ahmadi, it's a common pledge that we are all the time ready to serve the mission. So that also geared me to come into the project.
With the help from the locals, we have finally made it to the farm.
All this land that you see was under Ahmadiyya Agri Project. This was acquired by Ahmadiyya Agri Project.
How many acres is that?
Well, we acquired 1,000 acres. Both for cultivation of rice, ginger, experiment of wheat growing, vegetables like okra, carrot, cassia or something like that, and so many other granates. We even did granates and the upper land.
So can you tell us, before this experimentation on wheat, had you ever seen wheat with your naked eyes, with your own eyes?
No. It was on records that Ghana, no wheat can be grown in Ghana. It was on records in Ghana history that wheat cannot be grown in Ghana. But we experimented it on this land.
And it was
very useful.
Very successful.
Successful.
Wow.
100% successful.
Wow.
So that.
So this is where you used to work?
Yes, we used to work. You see, this was a pavement for the irrigation. This was where we could slope our machines down.
Right there?
Yes.
Can we have a look? Whoa. It's still there.
Yeah.
Wow. So what used to happen here? You had water?
That is a river.
There's a river there?
That's a river.
Oh.
So our machines were down there.
Is the river still alive?
Yes, let's go.
And you were not scared of snakes or anything when you were working here? Because
what do you have to do?
Frankly speaking, I am scared of snakes.
Okay, let me take the lead.
This is the white voter, I believe.
Yes, I believe.
Yes. So what happened from here? Chief, is okay.
No, I want to show you something.
You want me to still come down there?
Yes, come down.
Is it safe?
It's safe. There's nothing. You see? We cleared the land here.
Yes.
Cleared the whole land there. Then our machines were there. Then we will lay pipes up. Right? All this was cleared. We'll put the pumper machine there to draw water from here onto the land.
Wow.
Well, we had three machines working at all the time.
So you had constant water supply for the wheat project.
Wheat project.
And how many months or years did it take for the project to mature? itself, then you could say now it's been successful.
Yes, the wheat cultivation was done only at one season.
Yeah.
We did it once.
Yes.
And it was successful. Then we did rice irrigation. We did irrigation on rice.
Okay.
It was also successful.
Wow.
Then we did vegetables, okra, onion, carrots.
Was Huzur actively participating
that
in,
was
say,
why
clearing
at
the
times
weeds?
that was at times he has to stay, especially the wheat cultivation was very new.
Yeah.
I never knew agriculture. He was training me.
Yeah.
I was not an agriculturalist.
Yeah.
But it was through him that I decided developing interest in agriculture.
Wow.
So wheat was the first experiment in Ghana. So Huzur paid more attention to it because when he wanted to do that, he was told he would not be successful because wheat cannot be grown in Ghana.
And he proved
the skeptics wrong.
Yes.
Because it was all grown. Directors of agricultural institutions came and visited the farm.
Wow, and they were
to ascertain the truth of it.
Do you remember any scene, for instance, here where Huzur did something here? Did he ever do something here?
What I'm saying that he was in response. He had to teach us how to operate the machines.
Yeah. So what did he do?
He goes. We go in down there with him. Down there with him to prime the machines. He would teach us how to prime the machines.
Yeah.
Because if you don't prime the machine, it will not pull in water. So he will go in, teach us how to prime the machines, teach us how to lay the pipes up there. He was totally involved.
Tell me about your mode of dressing. How was he dressed?
He was a farmer. He was dressed like a farmer.
From the very few people working for the project, Muhammad Baku also had the privilege of working closely with Huzur.
There at the farm, you will never see him sitting. Always working here and there. Turning the pipes of this machine, these pumping machines, putting into the water, dipping into the water. You will tell us, oh, let us go to the riverside. Then we'll go, you himself will dip in the pipe into the water. I want the pipe to go inside the water. So we'll pull it and he himself will put it into the water. Then we'll go back and lay the pipes very well. Then we'll spark the machine. Then the thing will be working. And you will never see him at one place, moving here and there.
Yes.
So how long did it take you to establish all this, establish the pumping machines, clear the weeds, and before you started work? How long did it take, the preparatory stages?
Well, the preparatory stages did not take us a long time because hands were all on deck. Nobody was sitting idle.
Yes.
And there was no rest for anybody until the machines were laid up. Huzur was a very sociable person. And he could say sorry.
Yeah.
The word sorry from him, from his mouth, was not anything a big deal. And he was a problem solver. You see, he could, should there be any problem, he quickly comes in to solve.
Do you remember any such problems?
With this type of nature of work, where all of us were new, right?
Yeah.
We becomes at times bored up with the work. Then he will sit us down, tell us the importance of it. Then we cope up again.
To give you, to re-energize you to start working.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so,
and at any time you went wrong, he sits you down and advises you, or this is the way you ought to have done this, that, and that. He was not harsh in
what
words.
kind of leader at the time? He was your leader on the farm.
Yes.
So what kind of leader would you describe him? Would you say he was the kind of leader who would sit back and instruct you, you do that, you do this?
He was very active, involved. He was so involved. He was not a person who sits back and tell you do this and no. He does it for you to see. So when he's not there, you could do it.
What's your most the most memorable thing that ever happened on this farm between you and Huzur that you'd like to share with us?
You see, what happens was that Huzur was a person, not that because he's Khalifa now, And sometimes I used to ask myself what type of person he was.
Yes.
You see, he used to, at any time there was a problem, or where we the workers were faced with problem with regard to work, he draws it near God.
Wow.
Yes.
How did he do that?
Yes, he will tell you that, oh no, they show him the water. This is part of God's signs that he exists. You must face this type of problems to show that God exists.
And you used to say prayers here?
Yes, we used to say prayers here, but the spot where we used to say Juma prayers, we can't get there because of waterlock. Other than that,
you used to say Juma here?
Juma. At any time there was, we were prompted Juma here. Huzuru will make somebody call Azan.
How many of you? If you
we are 3, 4.
Even if you were 3?
I remember we were 2
Juma.
people standing behind Huzuru.
And there would be a sermon?
He would deliver a sermon and will lead us in prayers.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes.
And I could remember one Friday, the missionary and myself, plus Hussein himself, the 3 of us went to Dupale. And when it was even time for Juma prayers, he said, Bako, you will call Azan. So I called Azan. Movi Kamar stood before us and gave some small sermon. And then I stood to Shola with Hussein, and 3 of us, we prayed. And the whole village, they came and surrounded us. Because they were surprised to see a black man in midst of white men praying.
Apart from Juma and advising you, his lifestyle itself, what?
He was a very simple lifestyle man. He never wore expensive dresses. And he didn't like expensive food. What was ever was available. That was why he used to ride the tractor. Because at any time he felt that consumption, we had a Ford pickup which consumed more petrol. So in order to safeguard mission's money or the project's money, at times we come with a tractor.
And I just saw the struggle we had to go through to be here. So around that time,
tell you that this one was this is a better road. It was our tractor that we used to pave road. So you can imagine, like here, a wheel here, that's all. You move. Until recently, I never knew that he had devoted his whole life to Ahmadiyya. Until quite recently. But it makes me to reflect and to now reason why he was so committed to work. He was not lazy. He was not selfish. He was ready to share ideas with you whenever you were wrong. And he was ready to listen to your advice.
It was
a concept among those agriculture experts that wheat cannot be grown here. But there is some Hamatan season. So I felt that during Hamatan, where the temperature goes down, we can grow wheat. But how? There's no water. I said that I was of the view that if we get water or irrigation facility, then we can grow wheat easily. I asked one of my friends in Nigeria to send me some wheat seed, and that I experimented there. It grew very well. We irrigated them with sprinklers. We lift the water from Volta River, and it was quite successful. And even up to now, Amir Sahib, Ghana, Wahab Sahib has kept that quantity of the wheat into a jar, and he has kept that jar in the exhibition hall of Ghana Jamaat. Up to now, they are very well preserved.
Islam has been brought by Allah. Let them merge it. It is the way to Allah.
You have been witness to an incredible journey. To be devoted in the service of God is to sacrifice your life, honor, and wealth. It is to exercise the highest level of obedience and humility. It is to treat your fellow man with kindness and kinship. It was these qualities and the prayers of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih that enabled Hazur to succeed where everyone else had failed. A living example for all of us to follow. Hazur spent a total of 8 years of service in Ghana.
It's an example of humility, it's an example of obedience, it's an example of commitment, it's an example of recognizing a human being for his worth, what he is.
God had a mission for him, so he made sure he protected him, he made sure he groomed him, he made sure he protected him in such a way that nobody in future will have any cause for pointing a unnecessary finger at him.
He remained humble throughout. He remained dedicated throughout. He, went through all possible hardships that anybody can go through without any complaint. And that is a mark of a real devotee, somebody who is dedicated to the cause.
Salamu alaikum ya jama. Assalamu alaikum.
The Ahmadiyya agriculture project was an incredible success. But the village of Dipale is not forgotten. The village that welcomed the Jamaat is now itself a proud owner of a school, a farm that will forever bring a better harvest for all the futures to come.
La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah.